I never thought a simple sleepover would crack open the fault lines of my life, but that's exactly what happened that stormy November night in Seattle. Kai and I had been inseparable since freshman year at the University of Washington. Two lost souls navigating the chaos of college with late-night ramen runs and endless debates about indie bands no one else cared about. He was the golden boy, tousled blonde hair that always looked like he just rolled out of bed, a laugh that could disarm a room, and this effortless charisma that made everyone feel like they mattered. Me? I was the quiet one, Alex Rivera, the kid from a sleepy California suburb who'd traded palm trees for evergreens, majoring in environmental science because I figured saving the planet was a decent backup plan for saving myself. That Friday, the sky had been the color of slate all day, the kind of Pacific Northwest gloom that seeps into your bones. I'd bombed a midterm, my roommate was throwing another kegger I had zero interest in, and Kai's text lit up my phone like a lifeline. Parents are out till late. Pool table, pizza, no bullshit. Your ass better be here by 8. I grabbed my backpack, shoved in a change of clothes and my dog-eared copy of The Great Gatsby. Ironic, given how Gatsby's illusions were about to mirror my own, and hopped the bus across Lake Union. Kai's house was one of those McMansions in Madison Park, the sort that screamed old money without trying too hard. Red brick facade, manicured lawn that fought the rain valiantly, and a driveway wide enough for regrets. I'd crashed there a dozen times before, usually waking to the smell of Benjamin's famous blueberry pancakes. Benjamin Hargrove, Kai's dad, was the archetype of the cool single parent. Divorced a decade ago from Kai's mom, who'd bolted for a yoga retreat in Bali and never looked back. He ran a small architecture firm downtown, tall, with that rugged jawline and salt and pepper stubble that made him look like he'd stepped out of a J. Crew catalog for dads. He had this quiet intensity about him. He listened more than he talked, asked questions that cut straight to the heart, and somehow made you feel seen in a way that left you disarmed. But tonight felt off from the jump. Kai greeted me at the door with a bear hug and a forced grin, his eyes darting like he was expecting company we didn't want. "Dad's got some work thing," he muttered, slinging an arm around my shoulders as we shuffled inside. The foyer smelled like cedar and rain-damp wool, the grandfather clock ticking like a heartbeat in the dim light. We raided the kitchen for leftovers, cold slices of pepperoni pizza that tasted like cardboard, and headed to the basement game room, where the pool table waited under a green-shaded lamp. We shot pool for hours, the clack of balls echoing like gunfire in the muffled space. Kai was off his game, sinking shots he should have missed and missing the easy ones, his laughter too sharp, his silences too long. "You good, man?" I asked finally, chalking my cue as thunder rumbled outside. He leaned on the table, cue stick dangling from his fingers like a lifeline. "Yeah, just family shit. Dad's been weird lately, snapping at nothing, staring at walls. Think the firm's in trouble or something." He shrugged, but his shoulders stayed hunched. Kai never talked much about the divorce, said it was water under the bridge, but I'd caught glimpses. The faded photo of the three of them on the mantel, Benjamin's eyes in it holding a sadness that time hadn't erased. By midnight, the pizza was gone, and we'd cracked open a six-pack of Rainier, the cheap beer that tasted like home for both of us. The storm had picked up, wind howling through the vents like a ghost trying to get in. Kai's phone buzzed incessantly. Texts he ignored, face tightening with each vibration. "X," he lied, but I knew better. We'd shared enough drunken confessions for me to spot the tells. "Spill it," I said, sinking the 8-ball with a satisfying thunk. "Or I'll make you listen to that new Phoebe Bridgers album on loop." He groaned, but there was a flicker of real amusement. "Fine. This guy, from the party last weekend, thought it was something, but he's ghosting. And yeah, maybe I'm projecting my daddy issues onto every dude who smiles at me." Kai came out in high school, back when we were trading mixtapes and dodging bullies. I'd been his sounding board ever since, the straight-laced best friend who nodded along without judgment. Or at least that's what I told myself. We talked until the words slurred, the basement a cocoon against the world. Sometime around 2, Kai yawned like a lion and clapped me on the back. "Guest room's yours. Don't wake Dad, he's probably crashed already." He stumbled upstairs, leaving me to the dim glow of the rec room lights. I lingered, nursing the last of my beer, the storm's rhythm lulling me into a haze. Gatsby lay open on the couch beside me, Daisy's green light mocking from the page. What illusions was I chasing? A degree that meant nothing? Friendships that felt like tethers? Or something deeper, unspoken, that stirred whenever Benjamin's laugh echoed from the kitchen on mornings past? The basement stairs creaked. I froze, heart thudding like the thunder outside. Footsteps, heavy and deliberate, descending into the light. Benjamin appeared at the bottom, shirt untucked over jeans, hair tousled like he'd been running hands through it. His eyes, storm gray, piercing, locked on mine, and for a split second, the air thickened, charged like the sky beyond the windows. "Alex," he said, voice low and rough, like gravel under tires. "Didn't know you were here." But the way he said it, the pause before my name, suggested he did. Knew and maybe hoped. I stood too quickly, beer bottle clinking against the table. "Kai invited me. Hope that's cool. I can head out if..." He waved it off, stepping closer, the scent of his cologne, sandalwood and rain, cutting through the stale air. "Stay. Storm's a beast. Roads'll be flooded." He glanced at the pool table, scattered cues like fallen soldiers. "Fancy a game? Clear my head." We played, the felt surface a battlefield of unspoken words. Benjamin was a shark, pocketing solids with surgical precision, but his focus wavered. Eyes flicking to me, not the balls. "Kai talks about you non-stop," he said after sinking the six. "Says you're the only one who gets him." I chalked my cue, avoiding his gaze. "He's family. Wouldn't trade him for anything." A beat of silence, broken only by the rain's relentless tattoo. "Family?" Benjamin echoed, voice laced with something bitter. "Yeah, about that." He missed his next shot. Deliberate, I think, and stepped back, rubbing his neck. That's when I noticed the envelope clutched in his other hand. Edges creased like it had been read 100 times. "Everything okay?" I ventured, the words feeling inadequate. He laughed, short and hollow. "Define okay." Then, softer. "You ever feel like you're building a life on sand, Alex? One wave, and it's all gone." I didn't answer, couldn't, because in that moment, under the green lamp's halo, Benjamin looked less like Kai's unflappable dad and more like a man adrift, reaching for an anchor. And damn if I didn't want to be that for him. The game dissolved into talk, cues forgotten as we sank onto the leather sectional. He poured scotch from a decanter on the bar cart, amber liquid glinting like captured fire, and we traded stories. His, the firm teetering on bankruptcy after a big client bailed, blueprints gathering dust while bills piled up. Mine, the pressure of expectations, parents back in Sacramento who saw my straight A's as a ticket to stability, not the cage they felt like. The scotch burned going down, loosening tongues and guards. "You're a good kid," he said at one point, glass midway to his lips. "Kai's lucky." Kid. The word stung, a reminder of the chasm between us, years, roles, realities. But his eyes said otherwise, lingering in a way that made my pulse stutter. I shifted, blaming the alcohol, the storm, anything but the spark igniting in the space between. Upstairs, a door slammed. Kai's voice, muffled but urgent, on the phone. Benjamin tensed, draining his glass. "He worries too much, like his old man." The clock struck 3. The storm raged on, but inside, a different tempest brewed. One of confessions half-made, glances too long, and the first threads of betrayal weaving tight. I excused myself to the guest room, the hallway walls closing in, portraits of a happier Hargrove family watching like silent judges. Sleep evaded me, the ceiling fan whirring accusations. What was that look in Benjamin's eyes? Gratitude? Desperation? Or something that could upend everything? Dawn crept in gray and sodden, but the real upheaval was just beginning. Little did I know Benjamin's plans weren't about work. They were about survival, and they would drag us all into the abyss. Morning light filtered through the guest room blinds like a reluctant apology, casting striped shadows on the quilt that smelled faintly of lavender detergent. I lay there, head pounding from the scotch and the what-ifs, replaying the basement scene on loop. Benjamin's voice, that raw edge to it. The way his fingers had brushed mine passing the cue. Coincidence, I told myself. Exhaustion. But deep down, a voice whispered otherwise. A voice I'd ignored for years. The one that stirred in quiet moments with Kai, chalking it up to bromance until it ached too much to deny. A knock shattered the haze. "Alex? You alive in there?" Kai's voice, brighter than it had any right to be after last night. I groaned, swinging my legs off the bed. "Barely. Gimme 5. Downstairs, the kitchen was a tableau of normalcy. Coffee percolating, rain pattering against the bay window overlooking the backyard's sodden lawn. Kai hunched over the island, scrolling his phone, while Benjamin flipped pancakes at the stove. Back turned, shoulders squared like armor. "Morning sunshine," Kai teased, sliding me a mug. "Dad's on chef duty. Don't let him fool you. These are his hangover cure." Benjamin glanced over, a half-smile tugging his lips. "Heard that. Extra blueberries for you, smartass." His eyes met mine again, brief, electric, before flicking back to the griddle. The air hummed with unspoken currents, the three of us orbiting like planets on a collision course. Breakfast passed in easy chatter, Kai ranting about his poli-sci prof's latest TED Talk obsession, me nodding along while stealing glances at Benjamin. He ate sparingly, pushing eggs around his plate, the envelope from last night nowhere in sight but its ghost lingering in the lines around his eyes. "Big day ahead," he said finally, stacking plates. "Client meeting downtown. You boys got plans?" Kai shrugged. "Alex and I were thinking hike if the trails dry out. Or binge that new season of The Bear. Your call, dude." I opted for the couch marathon, the rain sealing the deal. Benjamin lingered in the doorway, keys jangling. "Lock up if you head out. And Alex." He paused, something unreadable flashing across his face. "Thanks for listening last night. Means more than you know." The door clicked shut behind him, and Kai exhaled like he'd been holding his breath. "See? Told you he's off. That envelope? Some lawyer crap. Divorce settlements biting him in the ass again. Mom's dragging her feet on the final papers." I sipped my coffee, scalding my tongue. "He mention anything specific?" "Nah, but he's been like this for weeks. Snapping, then apologetic. I hate it, man. Feels like I'm losing him piece by piece." Kai's voice cracked, vulnerability peeking through his armor. We migrated to the living room, sprawling on the sectional with laptops and takeout pho that arrived via Uber, steamy bowls cutting through the chill. The show was halfway through its second episode when Kai's phone exploded again. He silenced it, jaw set. "This guy," he muttered. "Ethan. We hooked up once, thought it was casual, but now he's all intense. Texts like we're soulmates or some shit." I paused the stream. "You into him?" He flopped back, staring at the ceiling fan. "Maybe? I don't know. After Dad's mess, I just want steady. Someone who sticks." The words hung, heavy with subtext. Kai had dated sporadically, flings that fizzled under the weight of his guarded heart. I'd been there for the breakups, the ice cream binges, always the friend. But lately, those nights left me hollow, wondering if my own affections ran deeper, tangled in ways I couldn't untie. "Tell him to back off," I said, lighter than I felt. "Or block the asshole." He laughed, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Yeah. Or maybe I'm the asshole for wanting more." His hand landed on my knee. Platonic, reassuring. But it lingered a beat too long, sending a jolt up my spine. I pulled away under pretense of grabbing the remote, heart hammering. What the hell was wrong with me? The afternoon blurred into evening, the storm easing to a drizzle that painted the windows in watercolor streaks. Benjamin texted Kai around 6. "Running late. Order pizza on me. Be safe." Kai fired back a thumbs up, but his mood soured, phone tossed aside like a grenade. By 8, we'd demolished the pepperoni and polished off a bag of sour gummies, the TV droning white noise. Kai dozed off mid-episode, head lolling against my shoulder, breath warm and steady. I envied his ease, the way sleep claimed him without mercy. My mind raced. Benjamin's words, that brush of fingers, Kai's vulnerability. The house felt alive, walls whispering secrets I'd only begun to hear. The front door lock tumbled at 9:30, jolting Kai awake. Benjamin strode in, coat dripping, carrying a leather portfolio that looked heavier than it should. "Evening, fellas." His smile was weary, lines etched deeper. "How's the binge?" "Deliciously stressful," Kai quipped, stretching. "You eat." Grabbed a sandwich. He hung his coat, movements precise but edged with fatigue. "Mind if I steal Alex for a sec? Need a second opinion on something." Kai raised a brow but waved us off. "Don't corrupt him with your boring blueprints." Benjamin led me to his study. A sanctuary of dark wood shelves crammed with architecture tomes, a drafting table scarred from years of creation, and a massive oak desk overlooking the garden. The room smelled of ink and aged paper, a haven amid the domestic sprawl. He shut the door softly, gesturing to the desk where the envelope waited, unsealed. "Sit," he said, not a request. I did, the chair creaking under me. He paced, hands in pockets, then stopped behind me, close enough that I felt his warmth. This is not just the firm. It's everything." He slid the envelope open, revealing a stack of documents. Bank statements in red, foreclosure notices stamped urgent, and at the bottom, a yellowed letter from Kai's mom. "Ben, I can't keep pretending. The life we built was a lie, for me at least. Sell the house if you must. Start over. For Kai's sake." Dated 2 weeks ago, postmarked from Ubud. My stomach twisted. After all this time. Timing's a bitch. His voice was a rumble, hand gripping the desk's edge beside mine. "Thought we were past it. Signed the papers years ago. But she's contesting the asset split now. Says the house was marital property. Firm's collateral is tied up. 1 bad quarter, and we're underwater." I scanned the figures. Debts climbing like vines, equity evaporating. There are options. Bankruptcy, restructure, or not that simple. He leaned in, breath ghosting my ear. "Kai doesn't know the half. Can't burden him more. He's got his own storms brewing." Our eyes met in the desk lamp's glow. His stormy, mine wide with the weight of it all. "Why tell me?" I whispered, the question burning. "Because you see people, Alex. Not the facades." His hand covered mine on the desk. Brief, intentional. Sending heat racing through me. "And because, hell, I don't know. Feels like I'm drowning. And you're the only one throwing a line." Time fractured. The touch lingered. A bridge over chasms I hadn't named. Upstairs, Kai laughed at something on his phone. Oblivious. Betrayal's seed took root then. Not in words, but in the silence that followed. The pull I felt toward this man who wasn't mine to save. We talked strategy for an hour, refinancing angles, pro bono lawyers from his network, practicalities cloaking the undercurrent. When he finally straightened, the moment shattered like glass. "Thanks," he said, gruff. "Oh, you. Don't mention it." But as I rose to leave, his fingers grazed my arm. Apology, invitation, warning all in one. Back in the living room, Kai eyed me. "Everything good?" "Yeah, just shop talk." Lie number 1, bitter on my tongue. That night, sleep came fitful, dreams tangled with drafting lines and gray eyes. The house settled around me, secrets creaking in the walls. Little did I know, Benjamin's plans extended beyond finance, a revelation that would force choices no one should face. Sunday dawned with deceptive calm, the sun-piercing clouds like a hesitant truce. Kai and I hit the trails at Discovery Park anyway, boots squelching through mud as we wound past salt marshes and driftwood-strewn beaches. The air was crisp, laced with brine and pine, the sound glittering under a patchy blue sky. We talked trash about campus drama. That hookup scandal in the dorms, our prof's egregious beard. Anything to outrun the undercurrents from last night. But Kai's silences grew longer, his steps heavier, until we collapsed on a weathered log overlooking the water, backs to the wind. "Spill," I said, tossing a pebble into the waves. You've been brooding since breakfast. He picked at a frayed shoelace, gaze fixed on a freighter crawling the horizon. Ethan texted again. Wants to meet up, clear the air. But after Dad's vibe, I don't know, man. Feels like everything's fragile. One wrong move, and boom. I nodded, throat tight. Fragile. That's what this felt like. Me. Teetering on the edge of truths I wasn't ready to voice. Then don't move. Or do. But own it, Kai. You're not your dad's keeper. He turned, eyes searching mine with an intensity that pinned me. What about you? Always the rock. Ever think about cracking? The question landed like a stone in still water, ripples spreading. I thought of Benjamin's hand on mine, the warmth that lingered like a brand. All the time, I admitted, voice barely above the surf. But who catches you when you do? Kai's laugh was soft, broken. Guess that's why we're here. He bumped my shoulder, the contact grounding, and for a moment, the world narrowed to us. Two kids against the tide. We hiked back as dusk fell, the city lights winking on like fireflies. Benjamin was waiting when we pulled into the driveway, grilling burgers on the back patio despite the chill. Figured you'd work up an appetite, he called. Apron tied over a flannel that hugged his frame too well. Smoke curled upward, mingling with the scent of charcoal and earth. Dinner was al fresco under the string lights, the table a spread of burgers, coleslaw, and microbrews that cut the grease. Conversation flowed easy at first, trail tales, Benjamin sharing a story from his own college days backpacking the Appalachians, voice animated with a fire I hadn't seen. Kai loosened up, cracking jokes that had us all howling, the Hargrove backyard a bubble against the encroaching night. But as plates cleared, the mood shifted. Benjamin's phone buzzed on the table, once, twice, and he silenced it with a flick, jaw tightening. Work? He muttered, but his eyes betrayed him.
Capone said.
That the firm? Or Mom's lawyer brigade? Benjamin's fork paused mid-air.
Kai. No, seriously.
I'm not a kid anymore. If we're sinking, I want to know. The words hung, sharp as the autumn air. A beat. Then Benjamin sighed, setting down his utensil. It's complicated. The house might go. Rafai's falling through. Kai's face drained of color. What? Sell? This place, it's all we've got left of. Everything. Not everything. Benjamin's voice was steady, but his eyes flicked to me. Fleeting, loaded. We'll figure it. Always do. But Kai wasn't having it. Like you figured the divorce? Or Mom bailing? Face it, Dad. You're in over your head. He shoved back from the table, chair scraping like nails on chalkboard. I'm out. Need air. He stormed inside, screen door slamming. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the distant hum of traffic on the 520. Benjamin stared at his plate, knuckles white around his beer. You okay? I asked stupidly. He barked a laugh. Parenting? 0 stars. Would not recommend. Then quieter. He doesn't get it. This isn't just bricks and mortar. It's memories. His first bike crash on the driveway. Prom photos under that oak. He gestured vaguely, eyes distant. Losing it. Feels like losing her all over again. I reached across, hand hovering before settling on his forearm. Solid, warm. You're not losing him. Or it. Not yet. Our eyes locked, the string lights haloing his face in gold. Time stretched, the touch a conduit for everything unsaid. His isolation, my confusion, the magnetic pull neither could name. Alex, he murmured, like a confession. Footsteps on the deck. Kai returning with forced casualness.
Sorry.
Heat of the moment. But the damage lingered, a fracture in the facade. We migrated inside, the living room a refuge of throw pillows and Netflix glow. Kai claimed the armchair, scrolling aggressively, while Benjamin and I bookend the couch. Close enough to feel the heat, far enough for deniability. The movie was a rom-com, some frothy thing about mistaken identities, but no one laughed. Halfway through, Kai's phone lit up. Ethan, again. He answered in the kitchen, voice low and urgent, leaving us alone. Benjamin shifted, knee brushing mine. About earlier, he started, but I cut him off. It's fine. Families implode. Happens. Not like this. He turned, face inches away, breath mingling. I meant what I said. You're different. Steady in a world that's anything but. My heart jackhammered. Benjamin. Dad. Kai's voice from the doorway, phone clutched like a shield. Ethan's coming over. That cool. Benjamin blinked, pulling back like he'd been burned. Now? It's late. Yeah, now.
De fianțe Edget Cristone.
Problem. The air crackled. Benjamin stood, all 6'2" of restrained storm. Your call. Just be smart. Kai's eyes narrowed. Like you. The slam of the front door echoed minutes later. Ethan's arrival, hugs and hushed tones filtering from the foyer. Benjamin excused himself to the study, leaving me adrift on the couch, the rom-com's happy ending mocking from the screen. I wandered to the kitchen for water, the house settling into awkward rhythms. Laughter from the living room, where Kai and Ethan tangled on the rug. The faint scratch of pencil from the study. Peering in, I found Benjamin at the drafting table, sketching furiously. Lines of a house that wasn't ours, angles sharp as accusations. Can't sleep? He asked without looking up. Too much noise. I leaned in the doorway. You? Same. He set the pencil down, rubbing his temples. Please? Exploring. Good for him. But tonight? Feels like salt in the wound. I stepped closer, drawn like moth to flame. You're proud of him. That's what matters. He looked up, vulnerability cracking his mask. Am I? Or am I just scared he'll end up like me? Chasing ghosts. The question hung, inviting depths I shouldn't plumb. But I did, perching on the table's edge. You're not a ghost. You're here. Fighting. His hand found my knee, deliberate this time, thumb tracing a slow circle. With help. The words were a whisper, charged with promise and peril. We talked until the clock chimed midnight. Dreams deferred, fears unpacked. Ethan's laughter faded upstairs, Kai's door clicking shut. Benjamin walked me to the guest room, pause at the threshold heavy with what-ifs. Sleep well, he said, hand lingering on the frame. You too. But as the door closed, the line we'd towed blurred, betrayal's shadow lengthening. Kai, oblivious in his room. Me, heart racing with divided loyalties. The plans Benjamin harbored weren't just financial. They were personal, a bid for connection that would test us all. Monday morning hit like a freight train. Classes looming, but the Hargrove house clung to me like damp fog. Kai emerged bleary-eyed at 7. Ethan long gone, a sheepish grin splitting his face. Dude, last night was intense. In a good way. He ruffled my hair, oblivious to the turmoil churning in my gut. Thanks for not bailing. You're the best. Guilt twisted like a knife. Anytime. We scarfed toast and coffee, Benjamin already gone to the firm. His study door ajar like an invitation I ignored. Kai drove us to campus, windows down despite the drizzle, blasting the Nationals' melancholy anthems. Ethan's cool, he said at a red light. Wants to do this for real. Scary, but yeah. I forced enthusiasm. Go for it. You deserve that. He glanced over, brow furrowed. You sound like Dad. All wise and shit. Laughter followed, but it rang hollow in my ears. Classes dragged. Lectures on climate models blurring into static. My notebook filling with doodles of fractured houses. Texts from Kai peppered the day. Ethan's taking me to dinner tonight. Cover for me? I did, fabricating a study group alibi for Benjamin if needed. By evening, I was back at the Hargroves. Uninvited, but the pull was magnetic. Benjamin answered the door in a faded UW hoodie, surprise softening to warmth. Alex, Kai's out. Yeah, date night. I shifted, backpack heavy on my shoulder.
Figurat ide.
Study here. Quiet. He stepped aside. Mi casa. Kitchens stocked. The evening unfolded domestic. Me at the island with textbooks. Benjamin in the living room reviewing contracts. The tick of the clock a metronome to our parallel silences. Around 9, he wandered in, 2 mugs of chamomile in hand. "Fuel," he said, sliding one over. Steam curled between us, the herbal scent grounding. "Thanks." I closed my bio text. Rough day. Endless meetings. But progress. Called in a favor. Old colleague might buy out the firm's debt. Hope flickered in his eyes, fragile as new growth. That's huge. Relief flooded me, mingled with something sharper. Pride, affection, unnamed. We talked, mugs cooling untouched. He shared sketches from his table, renovation concepts for the house, salvaging what he could. "See this turret?" Kai's idea when he was 10. Wanted to be a knight. Laughter rumbled, deep and genuine. "Silly kid." "He's not a kid anymore." The words slipped out, laced with subtext. Benjamin's gaze sharpened.
No.
"He's not." A pause. Heavy. "Neither are you." The air thickened, charged like pre-storm calm. He reached across, fingers tracing my wrist where my sleeve rode up. A scar from a childhood bike wreck, faded but telling. How'd this happen? Stupidity. Chasing dreams too fast. Metaphor unintended, but it landed. His thumb stilled, eyes holding mine. "We all do." Then softer. "Stay a while?" Company'd be nice. I did. We migrated to the patio. Blankets draped over shoulders against the night chill. Stars peeking through scudding clouds. Conversation meandered. Books. He loved Steinbeck's Quiet Rage. Music. Shared a love for Springsteen's working-class anthems. The ache of unspoken losses. His, the wife who faded like a photograph. Mine, parents who loved conditionally, my queerness a footnote they skipped. "You're out?" he asked gently, no judgment. "Mostly. To friends. Family. Work in progress." Vulnerability spilled, easier with him than anyone. He nodded. "Takes guts. Kai's lucky to have you in his corner." The mention of Kai snapped the spell, guilt surging. "Yeah, about that." Headlights swept the driveway. Kai's car earlier than expected. We scrambled inside, blankets abandoned, the moment fracturing. Kai burst through the door, eyes red-rimmed. Ethan nowhere in sight. "It was bullshit," he spat, tossing keys on the counter. "Guy's married. Engaged, whatever. Lied from jump." Benjamin moved first, pulling him into a hug. "Hey, breathe." Kai sagged against him, then spotted me. "Alex? Thought you were studying." "Was." Heard the car. "Lie too smoother now." The three of us ended up in the living room, ice cream cartons cracked open. Ben and Jerry's therapy. Kai vented, rage giving way to hurt, Benjamin's arms steady around his shoulders. I sat across, observer and participant, heart aching for them both. As Kai's sobs quieted, exhaustion claiming him on the couch, Benjamin met my eyes over his head. Gratitude, yes, but something deeper. Partnership. He mouthed thank you, and I nodded, the bond tightening like a knot. Tuesday blurred into routine, but the undercurrent swelled. Kai rebounded with Ethan-blocked ferocity, throwing himself into a campus protest against fossil fuels. My wheelhouse, pulling me along. Chance and signs filled our days, but nights drew me back to the Hargroves. Excuses thinning. Group project. Laundry. Benjamin and I fell into a rhythm. Shared meals, late talks, touches that lingered. A hand on my back guiding me through a doorway, fingers brushing over coffee refills. One evening, midweek, it crested. Kai was at a lecture hall debate, leaving the house to us. Benjamin cooked. Pasta carbonara, creamy and indulgent, a rare splurge. Candles flickered on the table, unremarked but undeniable. To progress. He toasted with red wine, glass clinking mine. To not drowning. Our laughter mingled, easy. Post-dinner, we cleared plates side by side, suds foaming in the sink. His shoulder bumped mine, accidental, and neither pulled away. "Alex," he said, turning, water dripping from his hands. "This, us talking, it's been a lifeline." Me too. The admission hung electric. He dried his hands, stepping closer, the space between shrinking. I shouldn't say this, but you make me feel seen. Not the dad, the architect, the failure. Just me. My breath caught. You're not a failure. Hand rising, cupping his jaw, stubble rough under my palm. His eyes darkened. Leaning in. The garage door rumbled. Kai home early. We sprang apart, hearts pounding. The almost kiss a ghost on my lips. That night, alone in the guest room, turmoil raged. This wasn't just attraction. It was a chasm. Kai, my best friend, blind to the betrayal brewing under his roof. Benjamin, reaching for solace in forbidden waters. And me, complicit, desires I'd buried clawing free. The climax loomed, inevitable as the next storm. Benjamin's plans, revealed the next day, weren't salvation. They were sacrifice. A job offer in Portland, relocation to start fresh. For Kai, he told me in the study, voice breaking. Better schools, clean slate, but leaving here. You, the unspoken, leaving me. Tears pricked my eyes. What about us? There is no us. Harsh, but his hand trembled on mine. Can't be. Not like this. Betrayal crystallized, not his, but fate's. Kai walked in then, catching the tail. Can't leave without saying goodbye. Goodbye. Kai's face crumpled. Portland? When? The dam broke. Arguments erupted. Kai accusing abandonment. Benjamin defending necessity. Me mediator in a war of my making. Truth spilled. The full debt, the mom's contest, the desperation driving it all. Kai turned on me. You knew? And didn't tell me? Not like that. Get out. Ice in his voice. Both of you. I left that night, backpack slung. Rain lashing my face as I walked to the bus stop. Texts went unread. Calls to voicemail. Days stretched into silence. The trio shattered. The week that followed was a void. Classes attended in body only. My dorm a tomb of unanswered pings. Kai's socials went dark. Benjamin's firm profile unchanged. A lie by omission. I wandered Seattle's gray streets, coffee shops blurring into sameness, the weight of my silence crushing. Betrayal wasn't just the secret. It was my inaction, the moments I could have chosen differently. Friday night, desperation clawed. I biked to Madison Park under sodium lamps, the Hargrove house dark save for the study windows glow. Peering through the rain-streaked glass, I saw him. Benjamin, head in hands, papers strewn like confetti of defeat. Heart seizing, I knocked, frantic, foolish. He opened the door, haggard, eyes widening. Alex, what? Can't do this. Words tumbled. The silence. Kai. Us. He pulled me inside, door shutting on the storm. The foyer was chaos. Boxes half-packed, photos stacked like casualties. He's at Ethan's, no, wait. They imploded again. He's with friends. Avoiding me. We collapsed on the stairs, knees touching. I screwed up, I said. Should have told him. Or walked away. Benjamin's head shook. No. I pulled you in. My mess. His voice cracked. The offer's off. Can't leave him like this. But staying. We're hemorrhaging. House goes next month if I don't act. Options swirled. My parents' offer of a loan, a GoFundMe Hail Mary. But deeper, the human cost loomed. What do you want? I asked, turning to him. Not the dad script. You. He exhaled, ragged. You. This. Hand to my cheek, thumb tracing my lip. But Kai. Footsteps thundered upstairs. Kai descending like avenging fury, duffel in hand. Going to Mom's. For real this time. He froze, seeing us intimate, undeniable. What the fuck? Kai. Benjamin started, but Kai's eyes blazed on me. You? With my dad. Disgust, hurt, a knife's twist. How long? Not. But lies died. Weeks. Building. But it's not what. Save it. He dropped the bag, fists clenched. You're supposed to be my friend, my best. And you. This. The room spun, accusations flying. Benjamin stood. Buffer. Son, it's not. Don't.
Kayvhirled.
You think I didn't see? The looks, the late nights. While I'm spilling my guts about Ethan, you're, what? Hunting comfort. Wounds reopened. The divorce's echo, trust's fragility. I stepped forward.
Kay listang.
It started with helping. Your dad was drowning financially, emotionally. I fell in. Fell, bitter laugh. Into his bed? Our home.
No.
Heat rose. Nothing like that. Just connection. Real messy. Like what you deserve with someone who sees you. He recoiled. Don't lecture me. You betrayed us both. The word landed true and lacerating. Benjamin's hand found my shoulder. Anchor. Apology. Enough. This is on me. I leaned too hard, crossed lines. Alex. Stop. Kai's voice broke. Tears carving tracks. I just wanted my family. Not this soap opera. Silence fell. Broken sobs the only sound. We converged then. Awkward. Aching. Arms wrapping in a huddle of grief. Kai against Benjamin's chest. My hand on his back. Benjamin's fingers lacing mine behind. No words, just presence. The storm's rage mirroring ours outside. Hours passed in fragments. Tea brewed, truths unpacked. Kai's rage cooled to bewilderment. Why him? Of all people. My confession halting. Because he sees the cracks. Like you do. Benjamin's admission. I was lost. You both pulled me back. Dawn painted the sky lavender. Exhaustion claiming us on the living room floor. Blankets piled like barricades. Kai dozed first, head on Benjamin's lap. I curled nearby, his free hand in mine. No resolutions, but fractures mending, slow, human. Weeks blurred into tentative rebuild. The house sold, not to loss, but a neighbor who valued its bones. Benjamin pivoted the firm to sustainable designs, my environmental bent fueling pitches that landed. Kai and I talked raw, rebuilding, forgiveness a daily choice. Ethan faded. New horizons beckoned, including a cautious spark with a barista at our coffee haunt. As for Benjamin and me, we navigated careful, coffee dates masked as consults, touches restrained but electric. No grand gestures, just quiet romance. Walks in Volunteer Park, where dogwoods whispered spring. Shared sketches of dreams rebuilt. One evening, months later, under those same string lights, rest rung in our new rental, a cozy craftsman in Capitol Hill, Kai raised a glass, to upside down, and writing it. Benjamin's arm slipped around my waist, Kai's grin genuine. To family, messy as hell. Laughter rose, mingling with the city's hum. No illusions shattered, only remade, stronger, scarred, profoundly ours. In America's relentless churn, we'd found not perfection, but grace. Love in the ruins, humanity in the heartbreak.